Hello, welcome back to the True Crime Guys podcast. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Michael.
How's everybody doing out there? You're making it through. 2020 is almost over, guys. We can do
Hang
this.
in there.
We can do this.
Hang in
just
there,
another
guys.
month and some change, and we'll be done on to 2021.
That's
I don't typically like to categorize things like that. Like, this year sucks because it's 2020. Fuck 2020. But at the same time, 2020 does suck, man.
Yeah, it sucked.
This is the one year where I kind of jumped on board with that whole mentality. I hate when people like January, it's like 2020, watch, something bad's going to happen early in 2021 in January, and people are going to argue right off the year. Like, oh, well, the rest of this year is going to suck.
Yeah, well,
but 2020's been a shit show.
I won't be doing that. I won't be doing that. But we're in November, and it's pretty safe to say 2020 is a shit show. So
yeah, man, it's been one bad thing after another. Now Alex Trebec died. That really bummed me out. I think that bummed me out more than just about any other celebrity dying in a while. Like, I almost cried.
Really?
I knew it was coming because I knew he's been sick. I knew he had stage 4 cancer and stuff. But, respect to him, he kept doing the show and never talked about it, really. Didn't make it about himself. He just kept doing the show and doing it great. Great job. I've been watching, like, really, they're still putting out new episodes, quote unquote. Like, I'm sure they were pre-recorded, like, who knows how long ago.
Right.
But he was very sick during the record. But you can't tell. He's doing such a good job of
very classy
like I said,
host,
making it about the show as always, not about himself.
That's right.
Throwing in jokes at the right time. He's the best. He's the best game show host of all time. There's no arguing.
Dude, is he the longest running game show host? I wonder.
I don't know. I'm sure. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he's been doing Jeopardy since what, like the 80s, maybe? I don't know.
Gotta be,
definitely since the early 90s.
I remember being a child walking into my grandparents' house. I mean, I'd say 6, 7 years old, and over dinner they're watching Jeopardy. They got.
Oh, dude,
they got their little TV up in their kitchen.
Yeah, I mean, I've pretty much watched every episode. I rarely miss them. I get them recorded, and then if I miss one on any given night, then I'll rewatch it again. And I play the game where you track how many answers you get right.
Whoa, I had no idea you were that big of a Jeopardy buff, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, you say buff or whatever, but it's not like I'm brilliant by any means.
No, I mean,
on
like
any given episode,
like
a good run for me on an episode is if I get up to like close to 20 right, that's really good. But it really depends on the categories. When they do Shakespeare and all the fucking playwrights and all that stuff, I just get goosed on those categories. But then some categories I'll run the gamut, any sports stuff or get all of those.
Oh, okay, but I got you. Man, my wife is really good at Jeopardy.
I'm wondering what they're going to do now as far as a host, who they're going to pick, because the show has to keep going.
But there's so many good hosts out there right now, man.
I mean, they'll find somebody. I don't doubt it. It's just, is it going to feel the same? How's it going to be?
Well, I felt that way a little bit with Family Feud, but once Steve Harvey took over, I was like, oh man, I never looked back.
But now that show's gotten ridiculous.
I never
try to watch it now. It's all sexual innuendos and stuff, and they basically bait these like 40-year-old house moms into saying something risque, and then he does that look where he like raises his eyebrow at the camera, and pauses.
Yeah, all of the jokes are softball tosses now. That's for sure. But I mean, it makes it fun. It makes it interesting. But I mean, when he took over, he's another guy that it's just hard to catch him off guard. He's a classy host, Steve Harvey. I listen to his radio show in the mornings, actually. I still use an old school, like,
he's
FM
an American
alarm
gem,
clock.
dude, that guy.
Yeah, and I wake up to his voice almost every morning, and he almost always has something positive to say. Serious. Yeah. Like almost every morning. Dude. And this is in 2020, so...
He's a guy that people should idolize because he's just, nothing gets him down. That guy grinds. He's one of those dudes that was going to be a success in any walk of life because his grind mentality. He's got like 4 or 5 different jobs, just goes. So
Yep.
No excuses, just work harder.
Just keep working. And he does everything he does well too. So you can tell he doesn't shortcut any aspects of his life. That's an inspiration to me as a creator, for sure.
Yeah. Well, we're verging on 1-star territory here if we don't get to the show. Yeah.
What else is new?
So now, speaking of, Jeopardy and Alex Trebec, our episode this week is going to be all about Double Jeopardy. If you guys don't know about this little thing in our Constitution, it's a part of the Fifth Amendment. You're going to learn about it today. It's more than just a film with Ashley Judd in it.
That's right.
It has real consequences on the justice system, and I think it's a good thing. We'll get into it, but also it can backfire, and we have some examples of it backfiring.
That's right.
of it going wrong. So yeah, we'll get into that. Let's hear your intro.
All right, let's do it, man.
He had something high, but he couldn't be tried twice. Double Jeopardy.
So keep watching Jeopardy 24 hours a day and call this number. You dumb son of a bitch, you don't watch it 24 hours a day.
Hey, it's Alex Trebec, and we miss him, that's a fact, but we're talking about Double Jeopardy.
Fuck. No shit. Call now and play phone Jeopardy.
Hey, Alex, stay on the line, I'm going for the daily double this time, like it's Double Jeopardy.
She drank the poison that Captain Hook intended for Peter Pan.
He had something high, but he couldn't be tried twice. Double Jeopardy.
Fuck 'em.
All right, in our episode this week, as we mentioned, we're going to talk about Double Jeopardy. And it is more than just a 1999 film starring Ashley Judd and Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh,
you ever seen that one? You ever see that flick?
I have not. No.
It's interesting.
Dude,
basically,
I'm not a good movie guy. And even if I have, I don't remember movies well. I've told you that before. I'm just garbage with movies.
It's been so long since I saw it. I saw it when I was like a young teenager, probably not long after it came out. And I had to look up the plot line again to kind of refresh my memory. Basically, Ashley Judd is married and her husband frames her for murder. They go out on like a boat trip together, and then like she wakes up and he's gone and she's holding like a bloody knife or some shit, and then the police are there, and it's like she gets convicted of murder of her husband on very little like evidence other than, well, I guess there's quite a bit of evidence that he framed on her, but there was no witnesses. Right. Anyways, It turns out he was still alive, and he like left her for the nanny or something, and then she gets out. She gets pardoned out of prison on good behavior and whatnot, and she kills him and gets away with it because of Double Jeopardy.
Because of Double Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
we'll talk more about that. We have a fun fact about that actually. That the whole plot of this is flawed in regards to the Double Jeopardy Clause in the Fifth Amendment. It's actually, she couldn't do what she did. We'll talk about that later. I have a fun fact at the end of the show for that.
Right.
But let's talk about Double Jeopardy, the actual law in the Constitution. The Double Jeopardy Clause in the Fifth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution prohibits anyone from being prosecuted twice for substantially the same crime. The relevant part of the Fifth Amendment states, quote, "No person shall be subject to the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb." So you can't be tried for the same crime twice. Now, you can be charged for murder twice, obviously, if they're different murders or if the situation is different. But the exact
different
crime,
people.
Yeah, you kill a person, you're tried for it, and either you're convicted of it or you are you get released for it. You're not found guilty by the jury. You cannot be tried for that same murder again.
And most of the time, double jeopardy is not a problem. It's a good thing. I think it saves the court system's time.
Oh man, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
In the public, I mean, let's say you're a suspect in a murder case. If the Double Jeopardy Clause didn't exist, the police and detectives and the DA and everything could just keep trying you for it until they find a jury that's willing to convict you. They could just keep doing it, running up tax dollars, ruining your life. They get one chance. That's why it's so important for prosecutors and the DA and all that to get everything together for a trial. That's why a lot of times it takes so long to get to trial, because they've got to make sure they have all their T's crossed and their I's dotted, because they get one real chance at convicting the person.
That's right. That's right.
Let's go through some of our sources for this. We have one example, and this is the disclaimer. This is a true crime podcast, as you know, so there's always going to be some dark stuff in it. But if you're squeamish in regards to violence against children, you might want to jump out now, because this first case we're going to talk about involves a 2-year-old.
And it's crucial. We can't really leave these details out in this one. Typically, you can leave some stuff out where it's like, that doesn't really need to be said. But in this one, it's you need to understand the case. You need to know what happened here.
Exactly.
So it's going to be said.
Yeah, so if you can't handle the violence against children, understandable. We'll see you next week.
Right.
Let's get into the sources for this week's first case here. Deseret, the Deseret website.com. It's for like Utah news. KSL, Utah's #1 source for news, sports, weather, and classifieds, had an article on this first case. CNN had an article in 2006 on this case, and then I found this case actually from Criminally Listed YouTube channel. The episode was, quote, 3 cases of people who were wrongly acquitted. Check out Criminally Listed's YouTube channel. It's fantastic stuff on there. A lot of cases you've never heard of. Very good channel.
Aside from the way he reads, man.
Yeah, his voice is very monotone, man. But it kind of suits. I think a lot of people like that in regards to true crime. A lot of people like it. A lot of people don't. I get it. But I think he's trying to sound dark and ominous, because I've seen people comment that like his ad reads, his voice is like more upbeat and stuff. It's like, you don't have to read like that, dude.
Okay. I thought it was not only dark and ominous, but also kind of apathetic sometimes. The way he talks, I'm like, dude, do you even care about this case?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just the way that I'm interpreting. Obviously, he's trying to make a theatrical thing, and obviously the channel is very successful.
Yes.
So a lot of people do like it, and I will contest that the longer you listen to the video, the more normal it becomes. You get very
if you can make it through
the
the first few minutes and get used to the voice, you get used to it.
Exactly.
Yep.
So
let's get into our first case here of Double Jeopardy. This is the one involving a child, so just so you know. So in the winter of 1991, Jennifer Watts was a 17-year-old woman. She had a 2-year-old son named Paul Eugene. People called him PJ. She had been separated from the boy's father and was living with a new boyfriend. The new boyfriend's name was Michael Lane. He was 28 years old. They were living together in a house in Salt Lake City, Utah. So good old Salt Lake.
Holy shit, she was 17. I just realized that.
With a 2-year-old. So she had her child when she was 15.
Well, I'm more concerned about her living with a 28-year-old, though. That's a big gap.
That's another good
there.
point. Yeah, with a 2-year-old boy that obviously wasn't his.
Right. That's a big gap there.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, so they're living in a house together in Salt Lake. They had moved together a few months earlier around Christmas of 1990. And now it was winter, early 1991, February 10th, 1991. Jennifer went to church and left Michael, her live-in boyfriend, at home to babysit young PJ, the 2-year-old son. When she got home around 1:30 that afternoon, she found PJ quietly lying in his crib and didn't want to disturb him. Michael Lane told Jennifer that everything went fine babysitting young PJ and didn't indicate that anything was wrong. However, several hours go by, and she hasn't heard anything from her baby. And so it's now 5:30 p.m., 4 hours after she got home. She finally goes in to check on PJ, just, thinking it was odd that she hadn't heard from him all this time. She'd expected him to wake up crying, wanting to be fed or whatever. So she went in there to wake him up, and this is where it gets tragic. He was not breathing, and he was cold to the touch. He was clearly not alive anymore, and it seemed to have been a while that he hadn't been alive. Jennifer called an ambulance, but it was far too late to save PJ. The medical examiner determined that the boy had been dead for several hours and that the cause of death was blunt force trauma. An estimated 7 separate blows to the head had caused the boy's untimely death.
Oh, my God.
So, I mean, it just seems obvious, right, that this boyfriend she's been with for a few months is left with the baby. I'm sure this seemed like it was probably the first time she had left him to babysit young PJ, possibly. I would
say so. I would say this is the first time this man was left to babysit anybody, because
he had 2 sons. He had 2 kids with a prior marriage, though.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, which plays into this when it comes to the trial.
Well, it depends on how much he had to do with the child at a young age, because I mean, especially in the early 90s, this would be 80s that he had had children. If this is 91, I mean, it was pretty custom for the mother to do almost all of the child care.
Yeah,
I mean, that's pretty normal. And I mean, because if this man don't have the patience or the understanding to get a 2-year-old to stop crying, then you really don't know what you're doing. I mean, it's not like an infant. An infant, it can be crying for no reason, or something uncomfortable, or colic, or a million things. But with
most 2-year-olds, you can kind of ask them what's wrong, and they'll be able to.
With a 2-year-old, it's either usually like they need a change, they're hungry,
He may have wanted his mommy. He may have been inconsolable in that he wanted his mom. You know.
Well, no, that's true too. That's true too. But I mean, I feel like you give him a snack, man, and you're usually golden.
Right. Just be nice to him. Just
give him a banana,
pick him
and
up,
some yogurt,
change his diaper, give him some food, put on the TV
Yeah.
for him, whatever.
Exactly. I mean, a 2-year-old. That's what really baffles me about this case. It's not an infant. I mean, it's never acceptable to hurt a child. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, you hear these cases of people hurting infants and losing their shit and going crazy because of lack of sleep and things like that. I can understand it a little bit more. Definitely no excuse, not a pass. You hurt a child.
I know what you're
shit.
saying. I've had
I had
some moments when my son was first born and I was a new parent.
You have to walk away.
And when my wife was at work and it was just me and him, and he would cry like hysteric, screaming, crying, and I couldn't figure out how to stop. And then I would set him down and walk away, and I would
walk away.
I would throw things at times, and like out of just frustration, like because it was upsetting to me, not just because I was mad that he wouldn't shut up. It was more like I love this child, and I don't want him to be sitting there upset for the next hour until my wife gets home. And I want to know how to stop it, but I don't know how to stop it.
Right.
So,
Exactly. So I mean, if you're a parent and you haven't expressed that, or you don't say you've done that or expressed that or had that feeling, you're lying, man. Because or you weren't involved enough, or you weren't around them enough. I mean, and that's I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying. But with a 2-year-old,
and I think women are better at it too when the babies are young, at getting them
down.
at not getting frustrated and at getting them to settle down the baby. Because I think the men, a lot of times, they can feel our angst as well, and it might make the situation worse. It might make the kid want to cry even more.
That's true. And it also, it's just the not having practice with the with children either. And like I said, in the 80s, 90s, I mean, and even now, a lot of times fathers don't have a big enough role, I don't think, as far as the infant care and being held responsible and to taking care of an infant and what it takes and the patience that it takes. And it, if we normalize that a little bit more, maybe men will feel more comfortable being around babies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You won't have all that angst and that anger. You'll realize that it takes a little more patience. But.
Yeah, and we will come to find out that Michael Lane was under the influence of methamphetamine.
Now that didn't help.
That would not help the situation at all. And you wonder if Jennifer, the mother, knew of this problem that he had. It's hard to believe she didn't. Not to blame her.
Yeah.
Because obviously she had, this was out of her control. I mean, she left him, the baby, with this man that she'd known for a few months, that she lived with. You'd like to think that, and according to his track record, this is all stuff that we'll get into. We'll talk about his character and whatnot as we go along. But so she comes home, she finds, after hours, the baby's still quiet. She calls the ambulance. The baby is unfortunately beyond saving and had been, apparently struck or something in the head up to 7 times. The medical examiner also said that it looked like the boy had been kicked at least once by someone wearing a shoe. Obviously, the immediate suspect was Michael Lane, who was the only person at home with the boy during the estimated time of death. Michael Lane denied vehemently that he had harmed the boy. He said that it was possible someone could have entered the home while PJ was sleeping and done this and then left as quietly as they had entered.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And obviously the police were not buying this. What would someone have to gain from doing this? Someone sneaks into the house, kills the baby with blunt force trauma, puts it back in the crib, and then leaves.
Yeah. What's the motive? Who did this 17-year-old girl piss off that bad? You know what I mean? To kill her 2-year-old son? Come on, man.
Yeah. So the police and the district attorney were not buying it, and they charged Michael Lane with second-degree murder. After a few months, Lane was put on trial. So they got their evidence together, and he was put on trial. However, surprisingly, during the trial, Michael Lane's former wife, with whom he'd had 2 children with, testified on his behalf, saying that, it was not in his character to do something like this. She didn't believe that he was capable of killing a 2-year-old child. So that's what's bizarre is like this. It must be something to do with the meth. That's the only thing I can think.
I was going to let you finish, but yeah, absolutely. It has to do something with the meth. I mean,
but how was that not brought up at the trial? How did that not play into the jury convicting him. You know, like you have to think the prosecution brought that up. He had to. You would think he would have been tested for, you know, what he was on after being the only person around when a baby was killed. You would think he'd be tested for drugs. You know, especially if you see his. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, maybe he used the meth in his favor. Like, he was like, hey, I was high on meth. I was doing my own thing. I actually forgot the kid was in there. And I guess someone snuck in and, you know, killed the baby. I mean, I know it's not like heroin. I mean, you're not going to fucking, like, pass out and shit. But, but still, I mean, he could.
Yeah, I was down the street stealing bicycles and TVs. And someone must have gone in while I was doing that.
Yeah, he could have used the meth as his advantage. Seriously. Could have. It could have been his scapegoat.
Maybe.
That's why he don't remember things, or that's why he's not holding himself accountable.
Being the only person in a home when a baby is killed and then saying you're on meth is more likely to hurt your case than to help it, I think.
Oh, no doubt.
It hurts your character as a person saying you're a meth addict, and then also like you're more likely to be unpredictable and have a short fuse and temper, I would imagine.
Yeah. All those boxes are probably checked. I'm just saying, I feel like the meth shit came out early, and because you're saying like, wasn't this mentioned in trial? I think it was, but I'm thinking if I was a good defense attorney, I would try to flip it that way.
One of the articles we mentioned earlier in our sources has a picture of him upon his arrest.
Yeah.
Back in 1991, and he looks like a meth addict. I mean, to me, like he's like smiling happily at the camera in his. What do you call the picture when you're arrested? His mugshot. His mugshot. He looked. I think had a mullet, and he looked like somebody that would do meth. To me,
he had a badass mustache, though.
Yeah, no doubt.
He had a Selleck stash, Tom Selleck stash. Man, it was looking good.
Yeah. So yeah, he's on trial, and his ex-wife, with whom he'd had 2 children with, speaks to his character and says that she doesn't believe he was capable of it. However, even more surprisingly, shockingly, Jennifer, the mother of PJ, took the stand and basically in his defense and said that she did not believe that Michael Lane was capable either. She said that she believed that Michael Lane was innocent of this crime and someone else must have killed her 2-year-old boy.
She's 17 years old, man. She's infatuated with this dude. You know?
Yeah, and gullible, apparently.
Yes.
Very gullible.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
I agree. And also, she probably, just like the former wife, hadn't seen any evidence of violent behavior from him. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to think someone you don't have any... And it's a new relationship, too, right? So they're still kind of in that honeymoon phase. Mm-hmm. They're both still showing the best sides of each other. And
But my God, this is your baby. This is your 2-year-old baby. You'd think that would take precedent over anything. Like, I couldn't stay. I think it'd be hard to stay with the person even if you knew he didn't do it. It'd be like, man, we're so new in our relationship, and then this horrendous thing has happened. It changed my life forever, and it's just like, I would almost need to start anew anyway. Maybe. Even if he didn't do it.
Yeah. But I understand what you're saying. But maybe as a 17-year-old who felt overwhelmed by her circumstances anyway, maybe part of her felt relieved. She would never admit it. And I feel bad even saying it. But at 17 years old, you never know. Yeah. Maybe she thought she was going to start a new life with Michael Lane, and, they would have a happy family. Yeah. And they would go on and grow to be happy.
I don't know. So in court, the Utah Medical Examiner's Office testified that PJ received at least 7 blows to the head and died as a result. But Michael Lane, nonetheless, was acquitted in the 3rd District Court when the defense convinced a jury that the boy's injuries could not be pinpointed on Lane.
I'd like to know how they did that, man.
Yeah, so the jury had deliberated for 4 hours because one juror did not agree with the others but reluctantly changed their vote after much debate. And this is, man, something that's come up so much recently when we do this podcast. To me, when I study these cases, it sounds like this is pretty damn frequent, and it's a problem in regards to our justice system and the courts. It seems like so often there's one juror that is adamant about one side or the other, and they're basically bullied into joining up with the rest because I forget which one did we talk? Was it the football player in Texas? Wasn't there a juror in that one where they were like, yes. I was vehemently, I fought out, I held out as long as I could because I believed he was innocent. Yep. Greg Kelly. Yeah, Greg Kelly. There was at least one. I think it was one juror that was like, "I know he's innocent," and he basically got bullied by the rest of the jurors to just go ahead and say he's guilty, so we can get on with this. We got to move on with our lives. We can't be just, we need this trial to end.
That's right. They're like, put a 18-year-old boy in prison because we want to go home.
We're tired. We want to go home.
It's basically the way it was described because they interviewed that guy in the documentary Outcry. And
that's right.
That juror, you could tell
scary.
It's
scary
still
to
weighed
think.
on him. Yeah,
that's not how it's supposed to work. It's supposed to take as long as it takes to get it right because that person's then going off to prison. We know you're tired. We know you've been, if you're not ready to be a juror, it's a hell of a commitment. It should be taken very seriously. It shouldn't be something like, well, let's get this over with because I got my life to get back to. It should take as long as it takes to get it right because, like I said, that person's then going off to prison for the rest of their life if you convict them. In Greg Kelly's case, luckily he got out of it, but we've seen before where people sit there and they rot away forever, something they didn't do because you were tired and you were like, well, he probably did it. Let's just, convict him.
Yeah. Yep.
So this person, this juror that, tried to hold out but ended up giving in, after hearing the case against Michael Lane, they returned the verdict of not guilty, but this person said, quote, "I think he was guilty. I think I may have made a mistake," was the juror. They said that after the verdict was read. The juror asked in 1991 to remain anonymous and said, quote, "It's so awful. A little child was murdered. There wasn't any question of that. I feel really bad. The killer's gone unpunished." So he got away with it because, in large part, to PJ's mother helping him get away with it, and then also Michael Lane's ex-wife and the mother of his children.
I think that's why the jurors deliberated, right? Because they're like, well, if the mother doesn't blame him, how can we?
No doubt.
How can we?
No doubt.
I mean, the mother.
I think
of
without
this
the mother's
child-
testimony, he's convicted 100%.
Oh, no doubt. But his ex-wife or the mother of his other children, and then Jennifer's testimony, man, those two together, I could see that though. I could see sitting in court and think about it. I mean, you have no hindsight, right? You're sitting there and you're like, damn, both of these women just don't believe that he's even capable of it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the mother. I mean, a mother would do anything for her child.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what most people think.
Yeah, and I mean, there's the tiniest possible. It's not. You have to convict without a reason, without a doubt of, a doubt in your mind that this person did it. Mm-hmm. There's a world where, she had an ex that she had PJ with. Where was this person? What do we know about that person? What is it possible that person snuck in and killed the baby to get out of child support or something along those lines? There's a world where that's possible. I mean,
and in turn, that would be a smart move because it would also frame the new boyfriend, which you're probably not fond of either.
It's extremely, extremely unlikely, but it could possibly have been done, I suppose. Right. So then maybe that casts a shadow of doubt in the jurors. That coupled with the mother's, basically testimony to his character and disbelief that he could have done it.
I would love to see the defense's argument on this. I really would.
Yeah.
Love to see the points they brought up.
So, however they did it, they got him out. Michael Lane was a free man. And in fact, Jennifer stayed with Michael Lane. They lived together for the next 4 years. And during these 4 years is when she began to see it. She began to see the temper and the man that he could be, which was a very dangerous person. And she realized that she had made a massive, massive mistake in basically helping to get this man freed.
Yeah.
After killing her son. So she said that she really realized it in one event in which he had kicked their dog. She said, quote, "He kicked the dog and the dog's leg was broken. I mean, bad broken. And at that moment when I saw that, I looked at him and I said, that's what happened, wasn't it? That day. You lost your temper. PJ was crying and you lost your temper, right?" He did not admit to it. He insisted that he was still innocent. Obviously, he and Jennifer, following this, split up, and for another decade, it seemed that there would never be justice for 2-year-old PJ. Then, surprisingly, this is where it becomes double jeopardy. Something pretty insane happens.
And we'll get to that right after these sponsors. There's nothing like that Friday feeling. Clocking out of work on Friday evening, knowing you're just going to get to do whatever you want. Right? sit out on the front porch, take it all in, maybe pour you a glass of wine, right? Well, now you don't have to wait for that feeling to kick in once a week, because with award-winning wine from First Leaf, any day can feel like Friday. First Leaf is a wine club that sends personalized selections of wine from top vineyards all around the world directly to you. Because the only thing better than one fantastic bottle of wine is a case of award-winning wine that shows up at your doorstep. Every bottle is hand-picked by experts with your exact preferences and palate in mind for a unique combination of wine that you're guaranteed to love. Unlike other wine clubs, First Leaf uses an algorithm and your feedback to curate future wine recommendations. You log onto their website, you make some selections of wines you like, wines you don't like, taste preferences, foods that you like, things like that. They send you your first box, and from there you rate those wines, you send them back, and your palate just continues to become more and more clear to First Leaf, and they can send you wines that better suit you. Subscriptions are flexible, and shipments arrive on your schedule with practically zero effort. First Leaf is a much more affordable way to enjoy wine from top winemakers and vineyards. You'll always get award-winning wine for an unbeatable low price. Maybe you consider yourself a wine novice. I do. But First Leaf held my hand and walked me through this whole process so I can find wine that I like without going to a grocery store and taking a gamble based on a label. So what are you waiting for? Get that Friday feeling like I do any day with First Leaf. Join today and you'll get 6 bottles of wine for $29.95 and free shipping. Just go to tryfirstleaf.com/creeper. That's 6 bottles of wine for $29.95 and free shipping at tryfirstleaf.com/creeper.
What's up, creepers? You know, it's never too early to start gift shopping for the holidays, especially because today you can save big on a gift they'll use every day. Raycon wireless earbuds. I use my Raycons literally every day, whether I'm working out, hiking, or at work, or at home. At home, oftentimes I'll wear my Raycons while I study for this show. I can watch whatever creepy serial killer documentary I have to watch, while my kids can watch whatever they watch on the TV. With seamless Bluetooth pairing and a comfortable noise-isolating fit, you can start listening right away and keep listening for hours. The audio quality is amazing, comparable to what you get from other premium brands, except Raycons start at half the price. So this holiday season, get them something they can use for calls or music, for work or play, at home or on the go. Or say screw it and buy yourself some Raycons. Trust me, you'll use them every day. So here's your call to action. Go to buyraycon.com/creeper today to unlock exclusive deals up to 20% off your Raycon order. But hurry, this offer is only available for a limited time and you don't want to miss it. That's buyraycon.com/creeper to unlock up to 20% off your Raycons. Buyraycon.com/creeper.
This week's episode is also brought to you by BetterHelp. What interferes with your happiness? Is something preventing you from achieving your goals? Personally, I have battles with depression that leave me uninspired or unmotivated to create, which is the one thing I feel like I'm on this earth to do. But luckily, we're not alone. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can connect in a safe and private online environment, and you can start right here in the next 24 hours. It's not self-help, it's professional counseling. You can send a message to your counselor anytime, and you'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, if you desire, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions, all without ever having to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change the counselors if you need to or want to. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, but financial aid is available for those who need it. BetterHelp is available all over the world. There's a broad range of expertise available which you may not be able to find in your area. BetterHelp only uses licensed professional counselors who specialize in depression, stress, anxiety, relationships, sleeping, trauma, anger, family conflicts, LGBT matters, grief, self-esteem, and of course, anything you share is always confidential. What are you waiting for? BetterHelp is convenient, professional, affordable. Just check out the testimonials posted on their site every day on BetterHelp.com. BetterHelp is not a crisis line,
and so many people have been using BetterHelp that they are recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. I want you to start living a happier life today. As a True Crime Guys listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/creeper. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/creeper.
Now back to the show.
After 15 years, in 2006, Michael Lane walked into a Salt Lake City Police Department. He'd been living in Salina, Utah at this time, and he walked into the police department and finally told the truth about what happened that day in 1991. He confessed to killing PJ. Surprised to have a man walk in off the street and say that he had killed a 2-year-old boy 15 years prior, the police sat down for a recorded interview with him, in which time Lane told police that while he was babysitting that day, he was high on meth. Meanwhile, 2-year-old PJ wouldn't stop crying. And this is a quote from him on what happened that day. He said, quote, "I had him on the floor and I pulled his diaper off. I picked him up. I was being rough and mean. He fell down. I stopped crying for a minute. Then he started crying again, so I picked him up and threw him back down again. Probably did this a couple times. It was enough to kill him." Oh. Lane said that he only killed the boy to get him to stop crying. So he basically was changing the diaper. Young PJ wouldn't stop crying, and he basically slammed him on the floor. It wasn't a pick up and drop thing. It was he slammed him into the floor repeatedly.
Yeah, he's definitely sugarcoating that. If there was ever a way to sugarcoat this,
killing a 2-year-old,
he certainly tried. But yeah.
So when PJ stopped crying for the final time, he put the boy back in his crib and waited for his mother to get home. Then he denied hitting her. He also denied hitting or kicking the boy because remember the medical examiner said that it appeared to be some sort of a shoe mark on the boy.
Yeah.
So he drew a line there. Whether he did or did not do that, it's kind of odd that he would admit to killing the boy but not to kicking. But it's almost obviously more heinous to kick.
Oh, no doubt.
The boy.
You throw the boy on the floor and then if you kicked him, that's a heartless.
It's hard to understand, period, but it's even harder to understand the kicking part because I don't know.
Yeah, I follow you.
But as we know, killers, they draw lines. Like we've seen it with serial killers who seem to have no humanity in them. They'll draw the line where they won't admit to killing children, things like that.
Right.
So they draw lines on their humanity, apparently. So this could be one of those situations. I believe he did kick him. If the medical examiner said there was a shoe print, then there was a shoe. He did that.
Yeah,
we've already seen him lie.
Right.
So.
If he would go that far, and he kicked the dog too, man. Like he seems like a kicker.
Yeah. So when asked why, after all these years, he felt the need to confess, he said that a bishop at his church urged him to come clean. Mm-hmm. Quote, "The reason he confessed was to clear his conscience and repent for his sins," said Salt Lake City Police Detective Dwayne Baird. Amazingly, rather than being cuffed and put in jail as he was fully expecting, he went in there, confessed, expecting to be put in jail and locked away forever.
Yeah, he came out with hands exposed. He's like, "Cuff me up, man. I'm ready to go."
That's not what happened. Thanks to Double Jeopardy. This is where it can go wrong because when the police contacted the DA and basically said what they had, they were informed that he had already been tried and acquitted for this exact murder and that he was they were not going to bring up charges on something that he'd already been acquitted for and that he was basically a free man. He walked out of that police department and the police told him, "We'll contact you if any charges are brought up." Yeah. And that was that. They weren't brought up and he's a free man to this day. When police contacted Jennifer Watts, the mother who now lives in California, about Lane's confession, quote, "She became very clearly upset," the detective said. It's all real. Everything that I imagined is true, and everything that I've lived with all these years is true. It's hard to look back and realize that I defended the man that killed my son," Jennifer said. "He stole part of me I'll never get back. I'm a different person now, angry, and it's not fair," she told me through tears in an interview. This is someone who wrote an article on her. "There was a little life there, and it needs to mean something, and it needs to mean something to everybody," Watts said. "Nobody's been held accountable for it, and it's not right." And it's important to remember that she was 17. We keep bringing that up, but she was still almost a kid, and I'm sure as she grew into a woman, she realized what she'd done and really regretted it.
Oh, of course, man.
It sounds like there's deep regret there.
Of course.
That, her son never got justice.
I mean, obviously, there's a lot of regret there on Lane's side, too. I mean, rightfully so. I guess the only good thing that came of this, though, I got to thinking, is that this guy went public with this, this confession, and there is news out there, and we're doing this episode. So people are going to know that he's a child killer, and he does have to live with that for the rest of his life, even though he's free. And he very well has to probably watch his back for the rest of his life. Although I don't know what killing him would do. I don't necessarily think this man is a threat to society anymore.
Well, he should not be around anyone's children ever again, and he should be taken with care when you're around him, especially if he's still on drugs, which it seems as though he's cleaned up and he's found God and whatnot, and you may be right that he's not a threat no longer and he's learned from his mistakes and whatnot, but that doesn't mean that he shouldn't be in prison. He should be in prison right now. There's no doubt about it.
It doesn't mean he shouldn't pay for him one way or another.
He killed a 2-year-old.
And I'm sure there's a large population, especially in Utah, that believes that as well, that he should pay for what he did.
Yeah, no doubt. Jennifer says she's upset and embarrassed that she could not see what others thought was so obvious, and that brings it into the case of young PJ. It's tragic. It's good to I'm glad he confessed to the police. It's unfortunate that he never got punished for it, but at least now we know for sure what happened, and there's some closure there. But that's one example of. It's one example where double jeopardy can go wrong, where it can backfire and justice cannot be served. But it's, as we mentioned, it's still an important clause in the Constitution, and we understand why it's there. It would do a lot more harm if it didn't exist than by existing. These cases are fairly rare, where things like this happen. But of course, there's always ways this stuff can happen, and this one doesn't happen without the help of the mother.
That's what I was about to say.
Screwed up. She screwed up by defending him.
No doubt. And his ex-wife. She we can't really say that she screwed up because she was just saying what she knew about him. Whereas before that, he probably was a great father. He had no signs of violent behavior. So
that may have been before he found meth. Meth probably was the main reason this happened.
Dude, that's not too much.
If he's sober that day, I don't think he does that.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, I don't think so either. And probably his addiction to meth probably got worse over those 4 years that he was with Jennifer, and it just started
after doing that. Probably just coped with what he had done by doing more.
Yeah, exactly. Just constantly clocking out, not having to be sober, not having to be in the moment,
not having to live with himself.
Yeah. So I mean, I doubt drug use has subsided after an event like that. So it definitely escalated.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about double jeopardy. There's another case here we can talk about, but I also wanted to bring up the fact that I believe O.J. Simpson, there's a level of kind of cockiness he has in regards to, the murders that he was implicated in and tried for and basically acquitted of, that to this day I still feel like he kind of hints at the fact that he did it. He obviously wrote a book called If I Did It, and if is in tiny lettering, and then I Did It is in giant lettering. I never read the book. I don't know what it entails and what's all in there, but it just seems as though he flaunts it, and he flaunts it knowing that he has double jeopardy on his side, that he can never be tried for those murders again.
Right.
So that's one of those instances where it can be used,
Yep, it can, and he has some of the best legal teams working for him as well. So he knew about this double jeopardy shit a long time ago, and he was like, "Man,
no doubt,
I can actually make money off getting off of this case." So
right, and maybe one day we'll cover the O.J. Simpson case.
Yeah,
it's just so extensive that we need to set aside a week or two to do it. It'd almost be like I'd have to be on vacation or something to do that one.
Yeah,
to really have time to dive deep.
Oh, for sure. That definitely gonna have to be a Patreon episode. It's gonna be like 2-3 hours.
Yeah, no doubt. So we got one more little quick hitter. This one's kind of an interesting, a different type of example of double jeopardy and a loophole in the justice system here. In 2013, in Dallas, we got this article from the DallasNews.com, and the headline of the article was "Dallas man arrested in murder case goes free because of double jeopardy." So the story here is a Dallas man whom police accused of killing his cancer-stricken girlfriend went free after prosecutors realized the law won't allow him to get charged for the murder. So it says charging Sharon Sylvester Brown, 61, would violate the double jeopardy standard because he pleaded guilty to misdemeanor assault against Sherry Whitaker before prosecutors knew she had died and before her death was ruled a homicide. Spokesman for the Dallas County District Attorney's Office said. So Whitaker, who was 60, died April 17th, 2013. Her death was designated as unexplained pending an autopsy. Meanwhile, Brown pleaded guilty to the misdemeanor charge of assault April 24th after he was offered a plea deal by a prosecutor who had not been notified by Dallas police that Whitaker had died.
Oh, no. So did Brown know that she was dead?
Yeah, I'm sure he signed that plea deal real quick because I think he knew.
You think he knew? Okay.
And she had died as a result of him assaulting her. She was, in bad shape,
Right.
cancer-stricken. He hit her. She dies, but this information is not relayed to the prosecutor who gives him. You know how our justice system works anymore. I think it was the second season of Serial talked all about this, about how our justice system now in America is all about plea deals. That's all it is. There's almost nothing goes to trial. It's not like TV shows where every case goes to a trial. Almost nothing goes to a trial anymore. It's the prosecuting attorney and the defense attorney meeting and coming up with a solution as far as how much time needs to be served, what needs to be done, and they basically present the suspect with a plea deal. And this is how everything is now, just plea deals.
Yeah.
And so that they rushed a plea deal to this guy after he hit his wife, not knowing she had died. He signs it. Once he signs it, he's basically protected. And that's what he gets. And they find out that it was basically she died as a result of him hitting her, and it was murder. They can't charge him with it.
He got a misdemeanor for killing somebody, pretty much. A misdemeanor assault charge
basically
is what it looks like on paper. But he killed somebody. Holy shit.
So it says, quote, "We had no idea that she was dead," said Debbie Denman, a spokeswoman for the district attorney's office. "Once he pled out, the law protects him. Sadly, he just got away with it." Dallas police acknowledged that the department should have notified the district attorney's office of Whitaker's death so that the misdemeanor case could have been put on hold. But the death was not ruled a homicide until April 30th, and the case was unusual in that the injury Whitaker suffered during the attack normally would not have been fatal. The injury proved too much for someone in Whitaker's already weakened medical condition, authorities say. Quote, "I wish somebody would have picked up the phone and then we would have avoided this," said police Major Jeff Cotner of the Crimes Against Persons Division. Quote, "We're going to make sure that we do that in the future." Yeah. Meanwhile, this dude just got away with it.
We're going to make sure we communicate about crimes in the future. So don't worry about this, guys.
Yeah.
We'll get all this sorted out.
Yeah, and I know I kept saying wife, but it was his girlfriend. Sorry. So
Yeah. Wow. So, see, this is why I think maybe even Brown didn't know she was dead because, I mean,
it's possible.
She died later.
It's possible,
but
you can't hit someone that's in that state. That's like hitting an 80-year-old person, someone who's already fighting, dying.
Yeah.
They're very weak. She was apparently riddled with cancer, as is mentioned. You don't hit a person like that. That's like either hitting the 2-year-old, like with the case we just covered. Like there's people who are vulnerable that you can't. I mean, assaulting anyone is not okay.
Right,
first of all, let's just make that clear. But there's levels. It's just like you're really taking a risk at killing someone who is in that state.
No doubt. I mean,
who is small, frail, sick.
I mean, to me, you did it with the intent to hurt someone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
your intent changes based off of who you're striking.
That's right. That's right. So. And this guy's intent was to definitely hurt her, if not kill her. Maybe he did mean to kill her, and then she didn't die.
Yeah. Very possible.
Very possible.
But anytime you assault someone, you're taking a risk at killing them, even if they are a healthy, even like a big, healthy-looking person. You strike them, they fall, they hit their head on the ground. Anything can happen. It's happened many times where street fights.
Yeah.
Someone falls and hits their head on a curb. Then all of a sudden you're getting put up on either manslaughter or second-degree murder.
Yep. It's just not worth it, man.
Life's over, essentially.
It's just not worth it. Yep. It's really not. There's a lot of ways of avoiding shit like that. I mean, wow. Gosh.
Well, that's all we got for you this week. You want to talk about why our armpits smell so delicious?
Oh, yes, I do. I would love to. And that's because of Oh My Gaia. Oh My Gaia is an innovative, all-natural deodorant, fragrance, and beard oil company specializing in paraben and aluminum-free products.
Their innovative line of deodorants inhibit the growth of odor-causing bacteria while maintaining effectiveness. At Oh My Gaia, they use only all-natural, paraben and aluminum-free organic ingredients. And guys, there's definitely a scent that will fit your lifestyle or your style in general. You got vanilla, cherry almond, sandalwood, lavender, lemongrass, Egyptian musk, coconut, dreamsicle, leather, lumberjack, honeysuckle, fireside, which is what I'm wearing today because I'm out of Egyptian musk, which is my favorite. But also
that's a happy mistake though, because fireside is tremendous.
Is great. Yeah, it's not really a mistake. It's just I gotta hit up old Wendy over there at Oh My Guy and get me some more. Give me some more of that Egyptian musk. If you listen to this, Wendy, hit me up.
Of all the perks we get from this podcast, it might be the greatest one. We can just hit up Wendy and get as much deodorant as we want.
No doubt. Deodorant and incense, man. She helps our household out very much so, because I got two. Well, I got a teenager and I got a preteen boy who's starting to smell as well. So we're going through some Oh My Guy out here. But because you guys are True Crime Guys listeners, we have our very own scent available to you. Well, it's available to everybody, but I think you guys would appreciate it the most. But it's called True Crime Pine, and you guys can get that scent or any of the scents that I've told you today. And also, she's always adding new scents, guys. Always want to check the website at ohmygaia.com. That's OHMYGAIA.com, or at shop_ohmygaia and on Instagram. And you guys can use the word creeper. That's CREEPER for 15% off your order. ohmygaia.com or at shop_ohmygaia on Instagram. All right.
Yeah, buddy. Let's talk a little bit about why we didn't put an episode out for the freeloaders last week. That's because on our Patreon page, we did an exclusive episode just for patrons. Yep. If you want to hear that, you can go to patreon.com/truecrimeguys. $2 a month gets you access to that episode, plus all of our other premium episodes, a bunch of premium content.
That's right.
Gets you into a giveaway that we do every now and then, which we need. It's time to do a giveaway, soon,
for
so
sure.
we need to do that.
Especially since we have that new merch store now.
Absolutely. Give away some new merch to somebody who's a patron.
Link below description.
So we'll figure that out. $5 a month gets you the gold Creep Band sticker and access to Just the Banter, our other show where me and Michael just shoot the shit, man. We could have called it Shooting the Shit.
Yeah, we could have. Shooting the cult shit.
The logo could have just been iPhone emojis, the squirt gun, and the poop emoji.
Yeah, because you can't use an actual gun emoji anymore. When did they take that off? It used to be a revolver, right?
Yeah.
Man,
They got needles and knives and everything else, but God forbid you put a gun on there.
Can't have a revolver on there.
An emoji. It's just going to be too dangerous, right? Too dangerous for the public to have that gun emoji on there.
We don't want those smiley faces getting shot.
Right.
I don't know. But, I guess I kind of get it in a way. You don't want to promote gun violence or whatnot, but, it's just an emoji.
That's right.
So, yeah. Patreon.com/truecrimeguys. All right.
Check out Michael's other show as well.
Yes. Strange and Unexplained, guys. True Crime Guys presents Strange and Unexplained anywhere you listen. Spotify, Apple Music, Stitcher, wherever. Guys, new episodes are released every Monday for Strange and Unexplained. And if you'd like to support us with that show as well, you can go to patreon.com/S&U podcast, and you get early releases of every episode on Thursdays. And you also get access to two other shows I do, one being Strange Shorts and also The Palate Cleanser. So lots.
As long as my synopsis was in your latest episode of SNU, I might as well just start calling it our show instead of your show.
You should call it our show.
My synopsis was 15 minutes.
Listen, y'all, Lauren's synopsis, it may be a short piece, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's 12, 15 minutes, which is absolutely fine. But it's a big part of the show, and I think it really helps with a recap. It really. Yeah,
it's a cool concept because we study separately. I have no idea I don't get to hear the show.
Right.
Before I do my synopsis. So sometimes we're right aligned. Other times, we have different information altogether.
Yeah.
I present something he hasn't heard, so it's a cool concept that I haven't heard really done on another podcast.
Yeah, I love doing it too because I don't listen to your synopsis until I'm already done pretty much with my whole storyline, right? So I don't even listen to it. I don't even touch it. Even if you get it in before time, I do my episode the way I want. I play your synopsis, and then after the synopsis, what I do is I break down Lauren's synopsis as well. I talk about things that he mentioned that I didn't, and just kind of talk about differing opinions or like opinions, and it gives you a really good idea of each case that we do. You're going to go away not only knowing the main parts,
but a lot of hidden gem information about these cases as well. And if I can find audio, I'll play you audio, interrogations, 911 calls, anything that I can find out there. So
that's right. Check it out if you haven't done so.
Yeah, Strange and Unexplained.
Strange and Unexplained. All right, let's give some props to some people who have gone and rated the show in the last couple of weeks. I want to say thank you to Kelsey Lewis, 1995 in the U.S., said, love the pod, 5 stars.
Right on, Kelsey.
Said we're top 5 true crime podcast for her.
Thank you.
Then we got Jan Drew in the U.S. We already shouted this person. This is the one that was researching for Randall Woodfield.
Oh, you get 2.
We got A. Freeman 8 in the U.S., 5 stars, so entertaining, totally enjoy listening. Thank you. We got W.W. Heldsberg in the U.S., said awesome true crime with personality, 5 stars. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We got Kramer Fan 1. We did that one too. What is going on here? Did I get the dates mixed up?
Maybe, because we should have 6 or 7 new reviews, I think, for this week. Just keep on going.
They might be mixed up. Hudson Dad, if you get a double, thanks, then good for you. Hudson Dad in the U.S. said, great podcast, 5 stars. Thank you. We got M. Kiefer in the U.S. said, amazing, 5 stars. Thank
Very
you. Nice. We got Macy Price in the U.S. said, my new favorite, 5 stars. Thank you. We got Canada's Great in Canada, surprisingly. 5 stars, said, awesome, you guys are great. I sit in my room and draw or do a puzzle while listening to your podcasts, and they are interesting, well-detailed, and hilarious.
Thank you.
I somehow feel like I'm having a really good conversation with some friends. That's what we're going for, guys.
That is
so thank you
perfect.
up in Canada.
Exactly what we're going for.
And then Casey B in the U.S. said, true crime at its best, 5 stars. She enjoys the banter. Thank you. LSD in the U.S. said, one of my favorites, 5 stars. And also gave a shout out in their review to Oh My Gaia. I found out about Oh My Gaia, the best deodorant ever through us.
There you go.
There you go. We told y'all it's good shit. And then we got Niche in Louisville, Kentucky in the U.S.
Nice.
Said my fave, 5 stars. I also loves your songs each week. Keep it up. Right on. Thank you all.
Yes.
If you have time, if you have a minute to go rate and review, even if you just click 5 stars and throw some fire emojis in there, that works too.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Helps the show, helps us keep that rating up. Because every now and then we get some bullshit on too much banter. Y'all know how it is. Too much banter. These guys take forever to get to the show. Blah 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 blah. Oh man.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? There's bigger problems in life than us bantering
There's
too
one
much.
review right, I know. There's one review in particular I wanted to talk about. I don't even know who the name of it is, but whatever. We don't shout out bad reviews anyways. But it said something along the lines of, these guys take forever and they play stupid pop songs. And then it said something like, have they not even heard another true crime podcast? And
yeah, we have. That's why we're doing something different.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was getting at.
You want us to just do the same shit everyone else is doing?
You want us to just do the same shit everybody else is doing? Then why even do a show? I just thought that was so silly, man. People are looking. Well, what it is a lot of times you find this. The first podcast you listen to, or the first few, you start to get used to those formats. And it's kind of...
Yeah, you shape what something should be around that first one you hear, and then everything else is wrong.
Right, and then it's hard to accept these other formats and these other ways, but you just have to give shows time. And you kind of get used to the way that they do it. That's the beauty of podcasting, man. It's complete open form of creativity.
That's right. If you don't like it, find another one. There's freaking thousands of them.
So many.
Yep.
So, but I don't know. I just thought that was funny. I actually took it as a compliment. I'm like, thank you very much that we are not like any other true crime.
It's for saying we're different than others.
I absolutely, I love that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, right on. All right, y'all. Does that about do it?
I think that's it.
Any last words? Check out our merch store. You want to plug that real quick?
truecrimeguys.threadless.com. Guys, check the links below the description. Everything in True Crime Guys world is linked down there, guys. Patreon, merch, website, social media, whatever you guys want to find. Even our old merch sites, Redbubble and Ken Custom, those old designs are still available,
You can still buy shit out there and they'll throw us peanuts.
Yeah, we make like a quarter a shirt or something.
Dude, Threadless is what's up. Someone bought a hoodie and we made like $8. I was like, all right,
hey,
that's a good cut
that's
there.
Fair.
That's nice.
Yeah, I like that.
That's absolutely fair instead of like 30 cents.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we prefer you guys if you do want to buy merch, if you're a new listener, you want to buy merch, or you're looking to buy merch now, obviously buy off Threadless, please. We make a much better cut, and the the merch is a better quality from what I can tell as well, and a little quicker turnaround. So that's True Crime Guys.
That's not what I heard. I heard the shit was threadless and it falls apart.
Oh, come on. No, it's threadless because you can't even tell where the threads are. It's
okay.
Smooth.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in and putting up with our shitty jokes. See you next week. Keep creeping.
Keep creeping, guys.
True crime guys, in the desert we like a mirage. It's okay if you clicked on us cause you thought we was True Crime Garage. Now we ain't mad at you, sit down, let us talk at you. I'm talking to the creeper army, we out here making murder, get murder, get murder. True crime guys, in the desert we like a mirage. It's okay if you clicked on us cause you thought we was True Crime Garage. Now we ain't mad at you, sit down, let us talk at you. I'm talking to the creeper army, we out here making murder charming.